Day one from Bear Valley saw the skiers face the elements as the World Pro Ski Tour made its triumphant return. On the women's side, Canadian Erin Milzinski defeated Norway's Tuva Nordby in the finals to capture the Mazda Far West Classic and her second win in 2023. In the men's final, David Ketterer won his first event of the year, defeating Austria's Simon Kammerlander. It's day two in the CBS Sports Challenge. David Ketterer will be looking for the Bear Valley sweep. We will feature David Ketterer along with American Nolan Casper, looking to make his first trip to the podium in 2023. It all comes your way next on Life in Between Gates. This is the World Pro Ski Tour.
For more than half a century, Seiko has been supporting athletes in their efforts to be the best. Now, we want to bring this reliable technology to anyone striving for a goal. Because we understand, a split second can change everything. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Introducing the first ever Mazda CX-50.
Life in Between Gates is brought to you by Clicker, Celsius, Seiko, Mazda, and Taos, home of the 2023 World Pro Ski Tour World Championships.
I'm John Franklin, CEO of the World Pro Ski Tour and Ski Racing Media, and we're back for a second day of racing at historic Bear Valley Resort. This year has been crazy. There are 20-foot piles of snow all over this resort. It's record and epic snowfall. Today's race is going to be a slalom. The racers are excited to get out on their shorter skis. The turns are tighter, the speeds stay high, and they're going to duke it out for that $10,000 check at the end of the day.
American Nolan Casper looks to improve upon his fourth-place finish in 2022. A three-time Olympian and World Cup skier, this veteran still has a lot left in the tank.
My name is Nolan Casper. I'm a three-time U.S. Winter Olympian in slalom, and I've been ski racing for almost 30 years. I grew up skiing in New Jersey. My dad was in the industry, and I had two older brothers who also skied, so it was the natural thing for me to do. And as I got older, we slowly progressed from one mountain to the next as my dad switched jobs and ended up in Vermont and lived there prior to starting at Berkmount Academy. I was at Berkmount Academy 7th grade, 8th grade in the winter, and then I was there through high school. and then made the U.S. national team out of high school. And that's when I spent 11 years on the U.S. ski team, covered 3 Olympics. I also had a lot of injuries and some highs, some lows, but it was a wild ride, and very grateful to have been put in that sport and able to have those experiences. It's funny, I think a lot of people are like, oh, when did you know that this was, what you wanted to do? And for me, it was never really, there wasn't like an aha moment. I think it was something that I always done. I was always chasing my brothers around. They're 1.5 and 2.5 years older than me, so I was always chasing them around as a kid, and I just slowly progressed and got better and better, and I was able to just, keep myself motivated, even though, my brother started quitting, and I think I fell in love with the sport and being outside and being in nature and just being able to go fast and be free, and so I think at a very early age it was something I wanted to do all the time. But I think really once I started, racing out of Vermont, we were up at Jay Peak for a few years in the late 90s, and started doing well at those races, is when I was probably thought that I'd be pretty good. And then having gone to Berkmount Academy, things started picking up from there. And then I was able to qualify for the U.S. ski team. So I made the U.S. ski team out of high school. I also got into Dartmouth College at the same time. And so what I did was I deferred a year. I raced in the development team, had an okay season. Nothing great, but I requalified for the development team. So I deferred another year from Dartmouth. And that year we had World Juniors in Garmisch, Germany, and I was able to, I podiumed and I got 3rd in the slalom right behind my teammate Tommy Ford, and qualified for the C team. And at that point, it was a hard decision to decide what to do with school. And luckily, the school allowed me to defer 1 more year, which was great because that following season, I qualified for the Olympics after making 2 second runs, both at Kitzbühel and Schladming prior to the Olympic selection period ending. And I got to race my first Olympics in Vancouver. And it was honestly an experience of a lifetime. It's in Canada, it's close by. I was able to have my entire family fly up for it. So it was a really special time. And I mean, the Olympics are the pinnacle of our sport. And so being able to qualify at 20 years old and go and compete and represent my country was really special. And the moment that really kind of got that into me was during opening ceremonies and just walking into 80,000 people watching as I walked in with Team USA with my teammates, with other athletes from other sports representing the U.S. as well, and it was a really special moment. I was very fortunate that they were flexible with me, and I ended up starting school the spring after the Olympics that year, and actually went there for 7 years, eight different school years over 7. It was spring 10 through winter 2017. So yeah, it was a wild time, but I was very grateful for them to be flexible and be able to let me do both my passions, and to have been successful in skiing, and then be able to kind of work in school when I was injured, and I got injured a lot. And so it gave me a great outlet when I was injured and rehabbing to not think about kind of what I was missing. I was at Dartmouth with a bunch of guys who have raced on the Pro Tour. Mike Lankeny, Drew Duffy, AJ Guinness, probably some other guys I'm forgetting. But I think having that experience, I was on the U.S. ski team with all of them as well. And so, we're always out there when we were all competing, and now, Michael and I are doing this. Drew's in and out a bit, and AJ just got his first World Cup podium at Chamonix last week, which is amazing to see. It's special to be able to race with these guys and have gone through so much through the ski team and through college and everything. And yeah, it's really special to have them there. And it's a big draw for me to come back year after year, even though I'm getting old. I've got a girlfriend, she's here with me. I've been dragging her around to the Pro Tour events the last 2 years. So trying to get her to ski a lot more, and she's down with me at school. And what else? What do I do in my free time? I play a lot of pickleball. blowing up in the U.S. and I'm sure globally as well. But I've been trying to play a ton and starting to get decent at it, and taking that a little more seriously, as it's a little easier to go play pickleball than the ski from where I'm living right now. And yeah, I mean, I'm finishing up a business school, and so I have a ton of great friends that I've met there, and having some fun adventures, and we'll party a little bit, but also learning a lot, and really psyched with what I'm doing and where I'm doing it, and spending a few years in California is great, and enjoying the weather before we head back to the East Coast.
I'm Tiva Norby, and I hope you liked it.
Now let's take a look at heat number 2 between the 26-year-old Norwegian Joachim Lien going up against the 3-time Olympian Nolan Casper.
And Lien barges right out of the start, leaving plenty of room for Casper to accelerate down, getting off that jump almost 2 gates ahead of Lien at this point. Casper coming down through the bottom gates using that classic crossbog style, and he will advance to the semifinals.
Joachim, all that forward momentum shut down by 1,200 pounds of magnetic pressure, stopped him dead in his tracks, but it didn't slow Nolan down. Nolan advances.
I'm feeling all right. We got pretty hard conditions out here, so just trying to dial it in and trying to build more speed. I felt like I skied pretty well first run. The guy I was going against didn't finish, but I felt, pretty good ahead. And then second run I had the full differential and just try to keep it safe. Scrubbed a little here and there, but I got to clean up for this next round. We got another guy who just had a really fast race, so looking forward to it.
When we return to Life in Between Gates, we visit with 2023's Mazda Far West Pro Classic winner, David Ketterer. Fresh off his first victory of the season, 29-year-old David Ketterer looks to make 2023 his best year on tour.
My first event at the World Pro Ski Tour was last spring, the World Championships in Taos. I came in with high hopes and went out in the first round in both days, and that really stung. I was really unhappy with myself because I couldn't figure out the start. I thought the skiing was all right, but I was just really slow at the start, and that was a huge bummer. And I first heard about the World Pro Ski Tour because a lot of our national team coaches in Germany have a history with the World Pro Ski Tour back like in the, 70s, 80s, when it was like super big over here and in Japan. And they always you spend a lot of time with your coaches, so there's a lot of time to tell stories, and they told us all these stories about like the huge prize monies, watches, like cars, and all the things they want, and how cool the format was. So we definitely all were really interested in it when the Pro Tour came back a couple of years ago, and I'm glad I found time to come for this weekend, and I'll definitely have time for Taos. And I'm stoked. I like the format. I like going head-to-head with other guys. I think it's really cool, and I think it's cool for the fans. And I like to be part of a cool event and a cool show for people. And obviously, the prize money is that's always a big deal for athletes, and you always trying to go make some dollars. As I mentioned, my first appearance at the World Pro Ski Tour in Taos last spring was not very successful. So I came here and I was like, okay, I'm going to give it another try, and I hope I can figure out the starts. And I was pretty nervous coming here. getting plane ticket, car, hotel, and you're like, oh man, like, I hope this works out and I hope I don't mess it up, because you need to qualify on Saturday morning, and you're like, you never know, ski race is a ski race. You can always crash or do something stupid. So I was like, man, I don't like these qualification mental situations. Like, just don't mess it up, and just from the first run, I felt pretty good and qualified first, which made it easier in the main brackets then, because you faced the slowest guy from the qualification. I liked the hill, and then I just tried to be smart over the jumps and just advanced round by round. Had a tough go in the round of 8 on the first day against Drew. I made a mistake, and he overtook me there for a second, but to my luck, he made a mistake too, and I got him back and advanced. And then in the final, I have to say I was really, really tired, because I'm just used to skiing 1 or 2 runs in the World Cup. And here it's been 8 then, I think, with the qualifiers. So you definitely have to dig deep. Your focus isn't really there anymore. Your legs are getting heavy, the back's hurting. But I somehow found the speed to come away with the win yesterday, and I was absolutely stoked. Just winning is always feels fantastic as an athlete, and then you get $10,000. You get a bottle of champagne to spray. Stand in front of the Mazda car, looking cool, get a watch. So I was absolutely stoked.
David, an amazing skier, and very happy for him. I mean, going home with the big check, it's always nice. So I think the pedal is on for today.
I've raced with him before on Europa Cups and World Cups, so I know him well. David was amazing yesterday. Great technique, great skiing, very dialed in and sound.
Apparently he was a very good GS skier as well, but focused on slalom. So to see him progress actually throughout the day, it looked like he was getting faster and faster and really starting to figure it out. And he was pumped. I mean, you saw in the finish arena, he was screaming, he was excited. So it was cool to see that someone who's doing World Cup stuff and touring through Europe is coming out here and is as excited, taking it as seriously and pushing it hard. But yeah, he's ripping.
He came from the World Cup, and so he brought all of that technique and all of that speed to here, and so I think it shows what a high level it is. It's always close racing, but it's cool to watch these guys and try to copy their line, and it was really cool to see David on the top of the podium.
Well, I'm coming fresh off, I did a World Cup race last Saturday, so I think I got some pretty good, I'm in pretty good shape, I think, skiing-wise. And I'm also used to the ice. It was really icy here the last 2 days, so I think that's probably a big advantage. And there are some turns to be skied, and I think I've always been pretty sound technical skier, because we go through a pretty tough school in the German ski team. They drill you pretty hard on having a sound technique. Again, had a really good first round of the final. I think found a good setup with my edges, and really nailed the bottom part of the course, that was exactly my goal, to strategically ski smart over the second jump, take my direction, stay high, and then pin it into the flats. Then basically just hung on to my lead in the second run. Yeah, it's also interesting to see if you get close to we had some big stars on the German team, and if you training with them and seeing how they operate, I think it's really interesting. And there's definitely a lot of lessons I learned, and a lot of things I will bring to the future for my own racing and also for life after ski racing. I think it's really interesting what you can draw from professional sports. Also for the pro tours here, there's a lot of things I'm bringing with me that maybe some other athletes don't have. Some do, because there's a lot of really good athletes on the tour here that have a lot of World Cup experience, even Olympians, and it's been a crazy journey so far. I'm just super stoked on the money, super stoked on the wins, and good time seeing all my buddies, and good time party yesterday, 70s theme party, and good food and good people, good music. Overall, just a fantastic weekend.
So how it works, those doors open up and out on track they go. David Ketterer, the German, winning yesterday. So Ketterer taking a cruiser here. Again, they're paired up according to how fast you qualify. So first races against the last and qualifying Ketterer. The German getting the feel for the course. His heel will come down to the bottom. Jump. In pro ski racing, we do not have the full differential. We use what we call is the maximum differential. Today, it will be 0.8 of a second. So, boom, his doors open 0.8 of a second sooner for David Ketterer. Down the pitch he goes. He's going to try to save some energy. It's a long day, and this is a long course, longer than usual for our pro ski courses. Getting the GS on the first day and slalom on the second day. Using the same start makes the slalom a lot longer, a lot more taxing. On the legs and more turns. A little stiffy there before he goes off that jump. As you see Ketterer, it's not easy to try to go slow on hard snow. You have to keep putting energy into the ski. You can't just coast it because, you know, one unpressured ski can take you right out. But it's going to be Ketterer, our first athlete to advance in the quarterfinals. Ankeny explosive out of the start. He really knows how to get out of here. Ankeny with the experience. Out on track he goes. Ankeny gets the jump on Ketterer. That's what he's going to need because Ketterer has been so on form today. Ankeny, an incredible slalom skier, though. Into the first jump they go. Looks like Ketterer is starting to pull alongside Ankeny over the first jump. Oh, Ankeny still has the edge. Here we go through the midsection where we've seen a lot of trouble. Ankeny looking clean and smooth, as is Ketterer. This is a finals battle right here. You can see later on, these guys both incredible. Ankeny out in front, so Ketterer right there with him. Ketterer now looks like he's got a little bit of an energy, get some energy out of the ski. Here comes Ankeny charging back on the blue course side. This is going to be a photo finish. Down to the tuck he goes, across the line he goes. It's going to be Ankeny with the win, .082. That was a close one. Ketterer closed the gap on him. Ankeny had the better of the two starts. Here we go. So the cadence begins. Ankeny has the advantage, but 82/100 of a second, and he gets a powerful start. Ankeny leaves Ketterer standing in the starting gate with years of experience. Coming out from behind those start doors, it's Ankeny. Ooh, a little bit of a bobble there, runs a little bit wide. Ketterer trying to close the gap at the first, second jump, touch it down. Ketterer made up all kinds of time. Here's where trouble happens for both these guys, but not these guys. The best in the world in slalom skiing coming at you. Ankeny right there with him has the advantage after the first round. Looks like Ketterer has the lead right now. Ankeny through the midsection after the first bump. Who's going to advance? Ankeny lets that downhill ski run away from him. Off the bottom bump, it's Ketterer out front. He's going to cross the line first. Ankeny not going to be happy about that. On goes yesterday's winner, David Ketterer, the German.
When we return, the rich history of Bear Valley.
In general, ski racing is a pretty tough sport.
Racers ready?
Using my DNA vibe has allowed me to train harder, longer, and recover faster. Less days off, more time on the snow, beating my competitors. Having another option to be doing what we love and to continue to race, it just keeps the sport open and keeps you in it.
For more than half a century, Seiko has been supporting athletes in their efforts to be the best. Now, we want to bring this reliable technology to anyone striving for a goal. Because we understand, a split second can change everything. Keep going forward. Prospex.
Here is a place situated off the map of ordinary, a place that is independent, free-spirited, and intimate in scale. A place that since its first lift was installed over 60 years ago has strived to stay true to its roots while growing better rather than bigger. This vision for the future has helped make us the first ski resort in the world to earn B Corp certification. It's a symbol of where we're headed and what we stand for. We hope you will join us.
A career in skiing has let me pursue my passions because skiing is my passion. I'm Erin Melzinski, and I'm an athlete on the World Pro Ski Tour. I've always been one to push my limits, and I'm fortunate to have been successful at the top levels of my sports.
I'm John Franklin, CEO of the World Pro Ski Tour and Ski Racing Media, and we were super excited to come to Bear Valley, California. It's an area with a lot of history. There are a lot of ski areas with a lot of history, but this one in particular serves the Pro Tour well.
First of all, Bear Valley was founded by a group of 3 guys. One was Bruce Orvis, who owned all of the land in this valley. The second was Maury Rasmussen, who was a logger here in the area and also was kind of known for his get-it-done kind of character. The third was Harry Shimke. Harry was a Forest Service individual. He was kind of the protectorate of the forest in the local area. And they all got together, decided to do this resort, both the village and the ski area. And as you can see, this was a photograph of this lodge as it was being developed in 1967. It's pretty much been unchanged since then. Some upgrades, but it's still, I'm not going to call it primitive, but it's certainly got a lot of good old character to it. We've got some quite a history of ski racing here. Part of that ski racing, though, was a lot of the pro racing that started with Bob Beatty's World Pro Skiing in about 1971. We had his events here for, I think it was 3 consecutive years.
Events were held here in the late 60s and early 70s, all the way through the 90s, but not just ordinary events, events full of celebrities. Clint Eastwood was here, Lloyd Bridges was here. The celebrities of the 60s and 70s all came to Bear Valley, and at the time it was called the Little Switzerland of California.
We have not had a pro race here since about 1982, so this weekend was really quite special to everybody who was involved, and a lot of old timers really came out of the woodwork.
For us to return here sort of cements the legacy of Bear Valley as the perfect host for the World Pro Ski Tour.
Coming up next, part 2 in our sit-down with American Nolan Casper.
Yeah, so Nolan and I have been on the same team together for, I don't know, the better part of a decade, probably even longer. We were both on the World Cup slalom team together. He is a multi-time Olympian, always looked up to him. He's resilient, he's been through injuries. So we went to Dartmouth together. We always have been pushing each other, and here at the Pro Tour, it's no different.
So Bear Valley, we're about, I want to say it was like a 3-hour and 15-minute drive for me to come from South Bay at Stanford, and you know, it was interesting. I hadn't driven straight east from South Bay. Normally you shoot up through Tahoe, you go up 80, but this is a cool kind of old school mountain. I think I got to ski a little bit today. I showed up kind of late, early afternoon, but later in the day, and skied for a couple hours, but it's a cool mountain. There's a lot of cool runs out there, and I got the backside, and there's a bunch below the lodge that I didn't even get to ski yet, which hopefully I'll get to over the next couple days. Views are beautiful. There's a ton of snow here. Snowbanks are twice the size of your car right now, so they're not hurting for snow. And the race hill it's steep and hard right now, and you know, it's going to be a challenge for a lot of guys. And yeah, I'm excited for what we're going to race tomorrow. It's going to be a bit frightening, but you know, you got to get that fear out of your head and be ready to rock. The World Pro Ski Tour for me has been such a fun experience. Started out in that 2017-18 year. I was coming off of 2.5 years out due to injury. I was trying to make, you know, a last stand on the World Cup, and I was not funded by the U.S. national team, and for me it was, I need to go make some money, and I was skiing pretty well, and the prior year they had it was the first year they brought back the World Pro Ski Tour, and the 2017-18 season, they had 3 events. I was able to come out with a win in the first one, DNF'd in the round of, I think in the quarterfinals of the second one, and then I won the finals at Sunday River to take the 2018 season title. Huge boost for me to be able to help fund my season. That was my last Olympic year, and you know, that was the year that I retired from World Cup skiing. And so, you know, with the amount of fun I had, and I love the style of racing in Pro Tour. The head-to-head, dual panel slalom, NGS it's such a fun event. It's cool for people to watch. They can see the whole race typically. So it's a great venue. It's a great event that's put on for people to watch. And you know, even though I retired from World Cup skiing and started working in New York City, it was, you know, a huge motivation for me to stay in shape and be ready for the Pro Tour. Except for the first year where I was injured and they had one event, I've done the Pro Tour every year since. And my goals have kind of shifted from really trying to be the top guy and like really do well to, you know, we started with Michael Ankeny. We're on the Slalom Tokyo Drift team together, and so there's some camaraderie there and like trying to build in the team aspect for the Pro Tour, which I think is making strides. And then now I'm here to, you know, I'm here to have fun and ski well. But I know that I'm not able to get the time in that I used to for training, and so for me it's such a joy to see everyone working here who's been here the past, you know, 6-7 years that I've been doing this, and so I'm really grateful to be a part of it and for this to keep going, and I'm psyched for it to be growing, and you're getting more athletes. I mean, we were at Taos last year and we had a guy who that year was top 5 in the world in slalom, had gotten a medal at the Olympics in the team event, and like, so we had some really good athletes there. We had almost the entire Canadian national men's team, some of the women as well, and even now Aaron Milzinski, who retired this year, is now doing the Pro Tour full time. So there's people that are really excited about what's going on and how this is kind of building into their FIS career, but also in other ways. I mean, Dave Ketterer's here. He just came off of, he was just at the World Cup last weekend in Chamonix, so you get good guys coming in and out, and then you've got the wily veterans like me who have a little more experience in this style of event, but you know, a little less experience in getting that training and the racing in each year. So last year I had I guess an up and down season. Started off with a bang. I got a first and second at Granby, and then I had some issues. Couldn't get to Aspen in time for the race. Missed the first day, and the second day, that's a pretty flat hill they run over there, and you make one mistake and you're out. And I was going up against Rob Cohn, and he won the title the past, I think, 3 years, and so didn't make it out of the quarterfinals that year, or at that race. And then we went to Steamboat, and for some reason, Steamboat is a notoriously challenging hill for me. I did a little better. I made it into the quarterfinals. But the other race, I got knocked out again prior to the quarterfinals, and so a bit frustrating there. But I went to Taos with high hopes and ran into some stiff competition. Again, I got knocked out in the slalom by a guy who had just come from the Olympics and got a medal in the team event. And I was proud with the way that I raced him, but again, it's like little mistakes, and they can capitalize when they're doing that 100% of their time. A bit of a bittersweet end of the season, but definitely motivated for the races this weekend. And I think for me, like, getting in that last 4 is, you know, would be huge. I think I'm definitely not, I'm not keeping up with these guys as well as I used to, but my goals for this weekend, I think if I can get into that top 4 and really be, you know, racing it out for a podium finish, I think would be a good goal for me. I don't think that I'm getting the training time that a lot of these other guys are, and so I'm kind of operating on muscle memory and willpower, and it's a challenging hill. So I think if I play my cards right, I can do well, and I just have to be aggressive and kind of push myself maybe a bit further than I would want to. But I think this is the hill looks great, and I'm ready to rock.
Back up now, we have the 2 Olympians, Casper and Camelander.
Well, full of energy right out of the start gate, and nice even turns. It's very slick. You can hear how firm the surface is, trying to get an edge all day. That's all these guys have been working on, getting their skis tuned at the top of the mountain for each run. And look at how even, oh, Casper skids Olympians out.
Back to the top, to the Mazda start house. Simone Breitfus-Kamelander up against Nolan Casper.
And these two Olympians are going to be taking names and taking chances. Kamelander with a commanding lead out of the start gate over Casper. With that first run advantage, Casper's going to really have to pull out all the stops if he wants to catch Kamelander. Kamelander out in front over that first jump, cruising through, knifing those turns through that icy track. Kamelander trying to generate speed wherever possible, taking risks, getting a little sideways. Kamelander, Casper trying to close the gap, coming down towards the final jump. Casper with the cross block. He's trying to get across the line, but it's not enough.
Simone punches his ticket once again. Let's see what the two finalists have to say.
You feel great. They're holding up really well on this ice. It's really slick out there. You see a lot of people sliding around. Skis feel good. I'm excited for the next challenge. Simone knocked me out yesterday, so got to get him payback.
When we return to Life in Between Gates, it's part 2 of our interview with David Ketterer.
Here is a place situated off the map of ordinary, a place that is independent, free-spirited, and intimate in scale. A place that since its first lift was installed over 60 years ago has strived to stay true to its roots while growing better rather than bigger. This vision for the future has helped make us the first ski resort in the world to earn B Corp certification. It's a symbol of where we're headed and what we stand for. We hope you will join us.
Introducing the first ever Mazda CX-50.
David's on the German ski team, and we were talking about the World Pro Ski Tour, and he said, I want to come and race the tour. So he did, and he showed up at Bear Valley, and he dominated.
Ketterer out in front. Oh, Kamelander faces to the sun. Right alongside, he's not giving up, giving everything he can to possibly make up that advantage. Ketterer's got to cross the line first. That was unbelievable skiing for both these athletes. 71 hundredths of a second. He takes the win.
I'm David Ketterer. I'm from Germany. I'm 29 years old. I started skiing when I was 2 years old, and I have 3 older brothers, and we just went skiing every weekend, and then you like climb up the ranks through the different regional teams, and then you ski like under the week, like after school. The next big step was switching schools when I was 16 and moving closer to the mountain in southern Germany. And then when I was 18, I made the big jump to the German C team. That's like the development team of the German Ski Federation. And I think since I was 18, you could say that I was skiing professionally. So I was like had a spot on the national team, and that's just what I was doing full time. And then went up to the Europa Cup team and got to ski like all over the place, training camps in New Zealand and racing Europa Cups. I'm the youngest of 4 boys, so I think that's just what my family did, and we just went ski racing or skiing and then ski racing every weekend. And it wasn't really my choice, obviously. I was really young, but I always just tagged along. And I wasn't necessarily good. I was basically like the most unathletic of the 4 boys at home. And my parents were just like, well, we'll just bring them along. And everybody was like stoked when I made it down at a race. And I was like kind of laughing that I wasn't very fast. And then at some point when I was like 14, 15, I think that I just started getting better and better and better. I liked working on myself and getting better than I thought I can be, and I think ski racing is important for young people because it's something that's really difficult, and it's important to work on something very difficult and try to get better and work on yourself. And I think that's one aspect of the sport that's always been really fun to me. And another aspect that's really fun, I think, is hanging out with the team, traveling, seeing cool places here in Bear Valley. It's awesome, and been to Japan, been to Russia, been America, Canada, all over Europe, and I think that's really widens your horizon when you see so many places, see so many people, meet all the other people on the World Cup, on the Europa Cup from all different countries. Yeah, and I think that those are my favorite parts of ski racing. And I got an offer from the University of Colorado in Boulder, and I was like, wow, that's fantastic. I always wanted to study. And I had some buddies over there that I was racing with in Europa Cup, so I was never been to the US before, but I figured it's a good deal and probably more fitting to what I wanted to do, and went over there. I really loved the mix of going to lecture. We had great university, great professors, and it was really interesting. Studied physics, so that was really demanding. The other side of the equation was the skiing, ski racing, being on a team where you're not just yourself, but you ski for the team. I think that was a really cool part of it. Somehow that new perspective on ski racing seemed to have given me fresh wind, and I started skiing a lot faster. Things went really well. I had a fantastic first season, was able to win both college races, NCAA champion in slalom and GS in 2017, and won a lot of North America Cups, and was invited back to Germany, or to Europe more so, to ski my first 2 World Cups in Kitzbühel and Schladming. And improved my world ranking to rank 31. I had top 20 in the World Cup, 18th, 22nd, 23rd. Those were my best results on the World Cup, but for me personally, I think winning both events at the NCAA Championships 2017 was a big highlight, because it meant a lot to me to score those points for my team, and meant a lot for me personally to just conclude a huge season for me in 2017. I won the NORAM slalom title by I think over 200 points, and just won a lot of races that year, and it was awesome for me to come over from Europe, and where I was struggling a lot, to just get in that groove of I've never really won a lot of races in Europe, and that year I was just winning, and just got in that groove of being, it felt really successful, and I was just ready. It was race day, and I was ready, and I was performing, and that was an awesome feeling. And then come away with the 2 NCAA wins and a NORAM title was just an awesome season. And the second year I started flying back and forth, doing college races, doing North America Cups, and doing a full season of World Cup slalom races. I didn't feel like I was done ski racing, so I went back, put a break on the college education, and went back to the World Cup team in Germany, and that was in 2018. And now it's 2023, and I've been racing World Cup ever since.
He's had a lot of success on the World Cup, scoring top 30 World Cup points many times, and just so last weekend, and coming in after scoring at Chamonix, that's generally an indicator that you're fast, you're feeling good.
He had a pretty good result in Chamonix just a few weeks ago on a World Cup circuit, so he's always a force to be reckoned with.
David Ketterer is a World Cup slalom skier. Just got, I think, 22nd or 23rd in a World Cup event over in Europe.
I just had a really good race last Saturday at the last World Cup in Chamonix, and I didn't qualify for the World Champs, but there's another World Cup slalom in Tahoe, Squaw Valley in 2 weeks. And we figured we'd just go to the US early. I can ski here, Bear Valley Pro Tour. Looking back, it's been a crazy journey with a lot of interesting things that happened that made it possible for you to keep ski racing till you're 29. So that's it. I'm on my way home, Razy Rosie, and we'll be home tomorrow for dinner. And see you in Taos.
Here's a look at your men's semifinals for the CBS Sports Pro Challenge. Bottom of the bracket, 2 Olympians facing off. Top of the bracket, we have a mirror image of what happened here yesterday. Ketterer versus Duffy. Let's take it to the top of the start house. First up, we have Drew Duffy on the blue course, Ketterer on the red.
Duffy, National Super G champion in 2015. And Ketterer coming off of a 22nd place in a World Cup race in Chamonix and a slalom. Both of them are really firing down this course. Ketterer gets a little low and wide, and Duffy goes out. And Ketterer takes max advantage into heat number 2.
Heat number 2 between Duffy and Ketterer. Just like yesterday, but Duffy has to make up 0.8 of a second, which is the max advantage going into Heat 2.
And good thing that Duffy has a really good start out of the gate. He makes time right out of the start. I don't know if you can tell, Ketterer has been having trouble with his starts in the Pro Tour the whole time that he's been racing over the weekend. Coming down into this icy section, Ketterer right on the turning pole. Duffy getting a little bit wide and a little bit outside. Ketterer coming down through these final jumps, coming off that jump again, you can see how icy it is, how slick it is. Ketterer slicing and dicing these turns off the final jump. Ketterer will advance to the finals.
Next up on Life in Between Gates, the small and big finals featuring both Nolan Casper and David Ketterer.
In general, ski racing is a pretty tough sport.
Racers ready?
Using my DNA vibe has allowed me to train harder, longer, and recover faster. Less days off, more time on the snow, beating my competitors. Having another option to be doing what we love and to continue to race, it just keeps the sport open and keeps you in it.
Life in Between Gates is brought to you by Surefoot, DNA Vibe, CBS Sports, Tough Shed, Mazda, and Taos, home of the 2023 World Pro Ski Tour World Championships.
Who wants it more for $10,000? Will it be Milzinski or Morchikova in the women's finals? Right to the top now for the first run. Heat number 1, Morchikova and Milzinski.
Heat 1 for the big money. Erin Milzinski out in front of Morchikova like she has been all weekend, making nice, clean arcs off these turns. Beautiful skiing. Oh, sideways. What? That was like pulling a parachute. Lost all her momentum, but still is able to take the heat.
Back to the top for the final run for the Clicker Pro Challenge from the Mazda Start House between Erin Milzinski and Zona Morchikova.
Milzinski out first over Morchikova, and Milzinski has just executed some amazing turns over the course of this weekend. That snow is so slick, so firm. She is just comfortable, confident, and just flying down this hill, executing excellent turns on that super tough surface. Morchikova is trying to gain ground on her, but Milzinski's still out in front off that second jump where we're having all kinds of trouble. Milzinski coming down to the final jump, ahead by a mile, comes to the finish. She will be our Clicker Pro champion.
Milzinski having a fantastic weekend here in Bear Valley. 2 back-to-back wins and $20,000 in her pocket. Now it's time for the men's bracket for the CBS Sports Pro Challenge. We have the smoking gun from yesterday, the German David Ketterer taking on the Bolivian Olympian Simone Breifus Camelander, a mirror image from yesterday's race, in the small final for $30,000. third and fourth place, Drew Duffy and Nolan Casper. Back to the top to the Mazda start house. We have Casper and Duffy first.
And tactics have come in play all weekend long, especially off these jumps. They're blind, so you cannot see where you land. And it's been very slick, and you saw Casper get back on his tails, and he's just kind of slowed way down, opening that door wide open for Duffy to take max advantage.
Let's go back to the top now for the first run of the small final. Drew Duffy taking on Nolan Casper.
Tension's got to be really high. There's money on the line here. Duffy has a max advantage of 0.8 of a second. Casper's going to have to give it everything he has to claw his way back to have even a chance against Duffy. Duffy out in front making some sweet arcs on those skis, generating speed from turn to turn. Casper coming on strong, coming from behind. Comeback kid, Nolan Casper, trying to maintain catch. Oh, Duffy makes some big mistakes, throwing all that snow, slowing him way down there on the bottom. Casper charging, cross-blocking wherever he can. Coming to line, it's going to be close. It's Nolan Casper, third place.
Now heat one of the big final between Kamalander and Ketterer.
Yeah, and Ketterer's going to have to dial in the line like he's been doing most of the day and dig deep if he wants to keep this. Whoa! There goes Simone, takes out a gate, really slowed his speed down. Again, both skiers railing some nice, clean arcs through these turns. Ketterer down through the bottom. He will take max advantage into the next run.
Back to the Mazda start house for the final run of the day. This is for all the marbles between Ketterer and Simone Brightness Kamalander.
And even though Ketterer has the advantage, he knows that Simone was so close to him in yesterday's giant slalom race here in Bear Valley. Ketterer out in front, but Kamalander is squeaking up behind him, almost neck and neck at this point. Kamalander really trying to pour on the juice down here through these final gates before the second jump. Ketterer touches down first. Kamalander trying to scramble, trying to make some time, cutting the line off a little too direct. Ketterer going as fast as he can down towards the bottom gates. It looks like it'll be Ketterer who wins the CBS Sports Pro Challenge.
Today and yesterday it was amazing. It's always nice to walk away with the win and with the check, of course.
Equally happy and exhausted, but yeah, you said it right. 2 back-to-back wins, $20,000. Couldn't be any happier.
That will do it for this episode of Life in Between Gates. Next up, the World Pro Ski Tour's 2023 Championship from Taos, New Mexico. On the men's side, Simone Kamalander leads the way with 2 second and 1 third-place finish to date, while David Ketterer is closing in after his sweep in Bear Valley. Aaron Milzinski continues to dominate the women's division with 3 first-place finishes and 1 second-place finish. Tuva Norby currently sits in second place. The World Pro Ski Tour concludes 2023 in grand fashion at Taos Ski Valley. Coming soon, Life in Between Gates will host a special preview show leading up to the 2023 World Pro Ski Championships.